Hey everyone, welcome back to my daily coding series. Today is day 84. So you'll notice it's been about a week and a half since my last episode, and that's just because I've been getting really busy and I am graduating in less than a month. So I just had to finish up all my projects. I'm still finishing up all my projects, but I just had to kind of pause these videos for a little bit. But I wanted to come back, and for now, at least until I graduate, it's going to be like probably once every couple days, hopefully. So I'll just do them whenever I can. But yeah, I feel happy that I did 83 days in a row. But now I'm just going to kind of slow it down a little bit and just try to be consistent. So instead of looking at the Neat Code roadmap today, I've heard from a lot of people this like grokking the coding interview thing. So it's good to get different perspectives and different problem sets of what people think is important. So I'm going to try this instead. So I picked out this problem. It's a medium. I didn't really look at it too much. So I have a virtual machine today that I'll be doing it in. But here's basically the problem. And then I'm also going to do some test cases. So in here, I'll have a class called solution, which will take in, that's not how that works. Okay, so we'll have a class called solution, and then in its initialize method, we'll take in the string s and the integer k. Self.k equals k. Or maybe we could just, yeah, so I want it, so how I want it to be is when I say, let's say, so I'll create an object and then I want to say sol.solve with s and k. So this will, so maybe I should take in no parameters then. So do I even need an initialize function in that case? Can I just have solve? Okay, so let's say I have this. So this should just, I got a CD. Okay, so this should, I'm not printing anything. Okay, so this should print 9. So I just want to get the sort of boilerplate stuff. Okay, and then, so interestingly, so this doesn't have like an auto test system basically, which I think is nice. I don't think it does anyway. So I think that's nice because in the real world, you don't really get test cases. So I'm going to think of my own test cases and code them using PyTest. So basically, for those of you who don't know, PyTest is like a unit testing library. So let's say, for instance, and you basically, you can do all these test cases yourself to make sure that it's true. So I would say like this, but I probably have to, oh, is this where I need like to make it a Python? Because I don't think I can just say, does that work? Can I just do that? So for instance, if I said assert solution of 4, let's just say like 3, 6 equals 9. I'll just get rid of this. Okay. So I don't know if this will work, but in theory, I should be able to just call PyTest. Okay. So basically what I'm going to do is this solve. Oh, I didn't save it maybe. I don't think I saved it. So this will fail. Yeah. So solution is not callable. So I want to say solution.solve. Okay. So let me just make sure this should give me false. Okay. Perfect. So basically the design here is that this solve function is where I'm going to actually solve this problem given s and k. And then in this test, it's basically saying like I want to assert that when I pass these inputs, it gives me the desired output. So I'll walk through a solution myself or use these 3 examples here. And then I want to assert that it equals what it should be. Okay. So, and then PyTest basically just, I can call it PyTest and it will run through all these examples and give me this synopsis of like which test failed, and so on. Okay, so I think we're good. I think that's all we need to get started. So I guess I could start by setting up the test cases. So in the first example, or I guess we can look at the problem. So the problem is given a string, find the length of the longest substring in it with no more than k distinct characters. Okay, so if the first example here is ARA, ACI, and k is 2. So we want to find the longest substring in ARA, ACI that has no more than 2 distinct characters. I see, okay. So here, the furthest we can get it, or the longest substring that exists with 2 or fewer, at most 2 distinct characters, is ARAA. And so we only have A and we only have R, but we can still make a length of 4. So another example would be RAA, but that's only 3. And we can't include the C because then we'd have 3 distinct characters. Okay. This one, if k, so same string, but k equals 1, so we can only have 1 character. And that's just AA. And then k equals 3, so we're allowed 3 distinct characters. So I'm guessing, yeah, this is 1, and then also this is 1. Okay, this is interesting. So that's the idea. It is a sliding window problem. The solution is also down here, but I don't want to look at that. So I'll start by doing the test cases. So for instance, how I'm going to do this is the first, so our function is going to take an S, which is a string. Sorry, k is an integer, and then it's going to return a string. We're returning the string itself, not the length of the longest. Okay, so we're going to say ARA, ACI, k equals 2, and this should equal to ARAA. So we want our function, if we pass this, we want to assert that it equals the desired output. So I'll just do that for all of them. So I'll just start with just the 3 and then we can add some later. Okay, so now if we pass k equals 1, it should just be AA. And then if we, so we have a different string here, CBBEBI, k equals 3. Okay, so I'm not sure if, I guess we're required. Okay, so this is a interesting design question. So obviously in example 3, there's 2 strings which both have k unique characters and they're the same length. So I'm thinking maybe we could return a list of strings, or like a set of strings, and it will be all of the possible answers. Or I could just return one. I could just return one string. So from a design perspective, I feel like it would be better to have like the list of strings. I'll just do a list of strings because it'll definitely be harder to implement, but I think it's better because it gives us more information. And then we'll have, so this, we want to return CBB EB, and BBEBI. But so I don't think the order really matters. So it might actually be better to do a set. Because this assertion statement, for instance, if I returned a list with this string first and then this string second, it would fail the test case. But in my opinion, that should be valid. I don't think the order we return them should matter. So I'm going to make it actually return a set. So just changing this to curly brackets makes it a set. Okay, so now to go back to my design, this is actually going to return a set of strings. Okay. Okay, so now we're done with this. So I've kind of defined the problem. Well, here it says find the length of, oh. The output is actually 4. Okay, so this just returns an integer. My bad. So this will just return 4, 2, and 5. Okay. Cool. So that's actually a lot easier. And I misread that. So before I start coding, I also want to think about some edge cases, I guess. So for instance, like what's the range of k? Like can k be negative? I would say no, because it's impossible to have negative distinct characters. I would say that we should accept 0 as an input, but probably just treat it as an edge case. So like if k is 0, then return 0, because we can't make a string with, if we have 0 distinct characters to use, then obviously we can't make a string with that. I'm assuming that k has to be an integer and that this has to be a string. If it's another thing too to keep in mind, we don't necessarily have to include this, but if k is greater than or equal to the length of s, then we should just return the length of s. So for instance, like if it says we can use 1 billion unique characters, then we can just like return whatever is in the string. I don't know if this is like good to have in the solution, because our general case might just cover it anyway. All right. So that's some validation there. If s is empty, I think that will probably be covered in our general solution, but it's something to keep in mind if s is empty. And I'll just assume that s is a string. Okay. So I think that's all of that out of the way. Okay. Yeah. So now in terms of solving the general case, I'm thinking what we do is, so we have a window. So for instance, if we look at A, R, A, C, I with k equals 2. So we have a window that starts at, I guess it would start there. And then we'll keep going until we've surpassed. Okay, so we'll have like a result variable, right? So it starts at 0. So this is like the max that we've found so far. So result, I guess, would be like, and we might not even need that. We could just, I'm thinking we could just like grow the window and then maybe like never shrink it and then just return the final length of the window. Okay, so let's look. So, okay, and I'm not muted, right? No, okay. So we'll add R, then we'll go. So, okay, so we'll check if R is not out of bounds. So my idea is we'll check R is bounded, and then we'll check if R is like valid. Okay, so let me not worry about bounds for now. So the idea is that we want to grow the window until we've surpassed the unique characters. So right now, so result would be 1, and then we'll have a dictionary that it maps each character to a count. So we'd say like A is 1. And if the length of this dictionary surpasses K, then we know that we are invalid. Okay, so then we'll go to R. So result is, okay, so first what we have to do is add to the dictionary. So R is 2. Now, sorry, R is 1 actually, we have 1 R. Now we have to check, is this valid? Yes. So I'm just going to write down these steps. So add to dict, check valid, and then increment result. So yes, it is valid because the length is less than or equal to K. So then we're going to increase result. Now R goes up. So now we will, and then, so I guess the bounded check, so R going up would be the last, like, increment R. And then we'll just keep going while R is in bounds, I guess. Okay. So now R goes up by 1. So now we add to dict. So now we add 2. This is still valid, so we'll increase result to 3. Now we'll increase R. We add to dict. It's still valid. Increase result to 4. Now increase R. Okay, so now this is going to be interesting because this will be the first time we encounter an invalid sequence. So at this point, so if we follow, so we just incremented R. So now we're going to add C to the dictionary. We'll check if it's valid. It's not. It's not valid. So now we're going to kind of branch off. So if it's valid, we know that we want to do this. If it's not valid, then we want to, obviously, I would say we want to remove this A. So I would say probably like, if it's not valid, I would say we want to remove L from dict, and then probably just increase L. And then I guess increase R is at the end, maybe. Increase R. Okay, so we removed L. So let's go with this for now. So we remove L. Let me make sure I'm not muted. Okay, I'm not muted. So we're going to remove L. So this becomes 2. And then we're going to increase L. And now, so this is kind of where we're at right now, right? So we have C. Yeah, so we're at rack, which is good. And then, so now we'll increase R. Add that to the dictionary now. So now we have I. So I is 1. And then check if it's valid. It's not. So we'll now remove L. So we'll remove this R. And then yeah, so it's kind of like we're decrementing, and then if it reaches 0, we delete it. So we removed R, and now L goes up by 1. And now R goes up by 1. And then our loop should stop because we have a while loop. Okay, so I'll try that for now. So let me write some code, and then maybe we can walk through like one more example. Okay, so the idea is while R, and I should initialize these both to 0. Okay, so while R is less than the length of S, we want to Can I make this bigger? Okay. We want to, not muted, right? Okay. So the first thing we do is, okay, we also need a dictionary. So I'll just call it counts. So R is going to start at 0. Yeah, so I think we just say if S of R not in counts, then counts S of R equals 0. So the letter, yeah, and then counts S of R plus equals 1. So we add, this is adding it to the dictionary. Now we'll check if it's valid. So if length of counts is less than or equal to k, then it's valid. Otherwise, it's not. So in this case, and then we'll also have the result variable. Okay, so in this case, if it is not valid, then actually, let's start with if it's valid. If it's valid, we say result plus equals 1. And that's it. That's all we do. Then we keep going. If it's not valid, then we want to say counts S of L minus equals 1. And then if it equals 0, then we'll delete it from the dictionary because we need its length. So we'll subtract it by 1, and if it equals 0, it will be deleted. So we know here that this can never be 0. Counts of S of L can never be 0 because anything that's 0 gets deleted. And whenever something gets set to 0, it immediately gets incremented. So we can never have a negative. Okay. And then we want L to go up by 1 here. And then we want R to go up by 1. Always. Okay. Next. So I think that's I think that works. Interestingly, as well, we could probably maybe not even have a results variable, and here we can just return like R minus L. Okay, so I walked through an example. So let me see if this fails any of our test cases. So I'm going to save this, Control S, make sure I'm not muted. Okay, so I'm going to Control S, and then I'm going to Control S, and then I'm going to call PyTest. Okay, so it says int has no attribute length. Returning result, which is an integer. It's from that. Okay. Okay, so that worked for these cases. Sweet. So now I want to try, because I'm thinking the window, what's up with the window? Like when we failed here at the end, the distance between L and R was just the result, because we always grow. So like whenever it's invalid, the window basically stays the same size because L and R both increase. When it is valid, only R increases. So the number of times that just R increases is equal to our answer, which I'm just storing it in a variable here. But we can like inherently know the number of times that just R increased by getting R minus L. And just before I return, let me just I don't know if PyTest shows standard out or not. Let's see. No. Maybe there's like a option or something. Okay, so let me I just want to copy this over. I basically just want to call the function and then Python 3 4. Yeah, so I just wanted to verify that. Wait, 6 and 2. Yeah. I just want to verify that R minus L. Okay, so now I'm going to change this a bit. So instead of checking if it's valid and then doing else, so I'm basically not going to use result at all. So we don't need this. So instead, we're going to do the opposite of this. So instead of it's less than or equal, we're going to check if it's greater than, and then we'll just do all of this. So if it's invalid, then we'll do all of this. Like that. And then instead of returning result, we're going to return R minus L. Okay, let's try it. Okay. All right. Yeah, it looks like it works. Okay, so now let's throw a couple. I don't think I need this here, but I don't know. Yeah, I definitely don't need this one. From a design perspective, it's probably better not to include it. Do I need this one? So if k was 0, then this would always be true. So then L would always go up and R would always go up. So let me do a test solution. Define test k0. So we'll create a solution object. I don't think I have to do this for everyone. Maybe I can make it global. Let me just make sure that works first. Okay. So let's, and I'm not muted, right? Check. Okay. So let's assert so if I have, let's say A, B, C, D, E, F with 0, then that should return 0. I don't know if, yeah, okay. No, so obviously that will work. Let's try it like this. Yeah, so it still works. And I think the reason is, like I said, so this will always be true because length of counts. Just thought of an interesting case. What if we have an empty string and 0? So in this case, this is interesting because 0 is not greater than 0. So it will just increase L. So this one might actually fail. Okay, it didn't fail. Oh, it's well, in that case, this would just not be true, and then it would be 0 minus 0. Yeah. So anytime there's an empty string, this will automatically fail. Another case that I did not consider is what if we have like weird characters? So like symbols. So for instance, if I have like just a string that looks like this, and let's say k is equal to 2. So this, so in this case, the largest one should be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Because in my opinion, should spaces count? So in this version, spaces do count. I think that's fair. Because it does say the longest substring, and I think distinct characters. I would say that space is a character. Okay, yeah, I'm happy with that. Sweet. Yeah, so thank you guys for watching. Today was day 84. Yeah, today was 84. I just wanted to get some more coding practice in. And like I said, it probably won't be daily every day just because I am graduating and have a lot of projects I have to finish to make sure I graduate on time. But yeah, that's all for today. So thank you guys very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.